In this video, I'm going to show you how you can master any of your songs using BandLab's free online mastering. Let's go. There are 3 ways to master your music using BandLab. We're covering all 3 in this video, and we've got timestamps in the description if you want to jump around. And this is actually the 4th video in my complete BandLab series, so if you're just getting started, check out the video linked up the top or down in the description. The first way you can master using BandLab is to master a song you've created here in the BandLab platform. So to do that, we're going to go to my projects, we're going to click on View All, and I'm going to click on Funky Lab. Now, if you're on mobile, the process is very similar, and there's some screenshots you're seeing right now to show you how to do it on a mobile. Here on a desktop, either a Mac or a PC, what we want to do is over here on the right, hit this ellipsis, these 3 dots, and that'll drop down this menu, and we want to click on Mastering. BandLab will mix down your tracks and throw the final mix here into the BandLab mastering platform, and it'll actually start playing the track automatically. Now, with original selected here, if we hit play, it's going to play that original mixed track. Down the bottom, you'll notice that we have 4 different mastering presets here. So if we click on Mastered, it'll start with Universal, and we can select Fire, Clarity, or Shape. And we're going to explain and go through all 4 of these in just a moment. Let's start with Universal. We'll click on that one. We'll just drag this playhead back to the start, and let's listen to what this track will sound like with this Universal mastering plugin. So you can hear there that it's brought up the level, it's added some limiting, and it's making it radio ready so that we can actually release this, whether we want to release it using someone like DistroKid out to Spotify and Apple Music, up onto SoundCloud or any other platform we want to release it to, or even right here on BandLab. Now, the cool thing here is that we can actually compare the original and the mastered track, both in looking at the waveform there, but also what they sound like. So if we go to the original here, let's play it and let's engage the mastering and hear the difference. I see the magic in your eyes. So we are getting quite a volume boost, and that's one thing to keep in mind with mastering, is that louder will generally sound better, but it is also adding some other processing there, some compression, some limiting, some EQ potentially. Now we have the 4 presets here. Let's explain what each of these do. The universal preset is what I call a smooth setting. This adds some limiting and raises up your volume without significantly changing your mix. Let's take a listen to this one. I see the magic in your eyes. Next up is the clarity preset. Now, this is what I call the crisp setting. This adds a little bit of high-end shimmer and shine and some compression to your mix. It sounds like this. I see the magic in your eyes. Next up, we have the fire preset. So if you want some really beefy low end and some heavy bass enhancement in your master, the fire preset is for you. It's going to sound like this. I see the magic in your eyes. Finally, we have the tape preset. This is what I call the warm sound. This is where you get that analog saturation in your mix that sounds like it's running through a tape machine, and it sounds like this. I see the magic in your eyes. Now, which preset you choose is entirely up to you. I tend to like the universal preset here because I spend a lot of time on my mix making it sound like I want it to sound, but the universal will make sure it boosts that level up. So I'm going to go with this one, and if I hit the apply button here, what this is going to do is save that to my BandLab project. So it's actually going to embed that mastering preset into my BandLab project. So now when I jump in and play it back, it's going to have that mastering applied. Let's hit the play button and take a listen. Now, something to keep in mind is that when we go back into the mix editor now, there's actually no way to see that this mastering has been applied. It doesn't actually show up anywhere on here. The only way to know is to go back to mastering. But there is actually something cool here. We can actually change it back to an unmastered track if we want to. So what we need to do is click on the ellipsis here, the 3 dots, go back into mastering, and when it loads it back up like that, we can actually hit the original button here and then hit apply, and this will change it back to that original setting. One final thing to keep in mind is that if you've just made some changes here into the mix editor and exited here and saved your project, it won't allow you to master until it's processed that mix and updated updated it. So here you can see it's currently processing. If we hit the ellipses here, there is no mastering option there. But as soon as this is finished its processing, now when we hit on this one, we can go back into our mastering. When you're happy with your final product, you can go back into mastering by using that same method here. Let's reselect the universal option and we can hit the download button here at the bottom, and this is going to download a WAV file of our final master. And there you go, it's downloaded to wherever your browser downloads files. We can now show it in your Windows Explorer or in your Finder here on a Mac, and you're ready to use that to upload it, to use it in your music videos, whatever you want to do with your mastered audio. One final thing to mention is that BandLab exports its final masters at a sample rate of 44.1 kilohertz at a bit depth of 16 bits. Now, this is CD quality, and this is more than enough for most folks, but if you have a specific need for a higher bit depth, say 24-bit, it's something to keep in mind that BandLab's mastering is free, but it does only export at 16-bit. And for a complete explanation of bit depths and sample rate, check out the video linked up the top and down in the description. The second way to master your track in BandLab is to upload your own final mix, and this is great because you can use any other platform to record, GarageBand or Pro Tools or Logic, and then you can actually master it for free in BandLab. To do this, we go up to the top here to these 4 dots next to your BandLab logo, and we click on mastering. From here, it's super simple. We hit the big plus button. It's going to open up our dialog. We can choose which song we want to upload. The song will upload, and once it's completely uploaded to the platform, it will throw us back into a very similar looking screen where we can do our mastering. This should look pretty similar to what we've had before. You can see we've got our original waveform here, and we've got the ability to change to mastered. We've got our universal, our fire, our clarity, and our tape presets, and it works in much the same way. If we select original and hit the play button, we'll hear the original final mix. Now, this is a different kind of track, so the mastering preset I'd probably use with this is going to be the clarity one because I want to really bring out that high end. Let's jump down and take a listen to some of the chorus using this preset.
And you can choose to kick and scream, but things will change.
You can hear there as I'm A/B testing, as I'm moving between the mastered and the original, it's just bringing out that high end. It's giving it a bit of that sparkle and that treble boost. So that's what we want for this one. Once we're ready with that, pretty simple. All we need to do is hit the download button at the bottom. And once again, it's going to download a final version of our mastered file. Now, as you can see here, one final cool option that BandLab gives you is to bring this project in and save it as a BandLab project that we can then add to or collaborate with others or edit later. So if we hit this save to BandLab option, what it's going to do is take this project and turn it into a BandLab project that we can work on just like we did in the earlier videos in this series. There you go, that's done. We just need to hit the open button here and it's going to open this up and we can use this just as we would any other BandLab project. There we go. Now we can hit the mix editor button here and jump on in to take a look at this track in BandLab. There it is. It's an imported WAV file here, and there is our complete track that we can now jump in here and edit and mix and adjust, and we can then come in here and add more tracks if we wanted to add some additional tracks, and we can even collaborate with other users in BandLab on this project. The third and final way to master in BandLab is my personal favorite, and it uses a combination of those first two. So to use this method, we're firstly going to create a new project by hitting the Create button in the top right corner. We're now going to hit the Import Audio or MIDI button, select a final mix project here. This is the one we used before, and hit the open button. This is going to import that final mix into a BandLab project. Now, the reason I like to do it this way is you'll notice that in the first two examples, we had a big lead in there. Now, that's not great because when we get our final mastered file, it's got a whole bunch of blank space. This way, we can edit it before we master. So to do that, we're going to grab this handle here, this trim handle, and drag the start of this project to just before it starts. Now, you want to leave around about half a second there because if it's right up against it, when you export it, it could clip that, it could fade it in. Some players don't like that. So always leave yourself around about half a second. And then we're going to drag the whole project back to the start. Let's just hit play to test it. Sounds good. So now that we're ready to do that, all we need to do is name this project. So this is my song called Things Change. So we'll hit Things Change, we'll hit enter there, we'll hit the save button, and this is going to save this in as a standard BandLab project. There you go, revision saved, that is done. We'll hit the exit button in the top left here and jump back out. Now once this finishes processing, we'll then have the mastering option down here in the bottom right, and we can master this track. There you go, that is done, and you can see here that now our project starts right at the beginning there. So now when we do our mastering, we'll hit this button here, we'll go to mastering. This time the track is right there at the start. So when we select our clarity preset now and hit play, we're straight in there. We can then use the exact same process to either apply it to our original, or when we're ready, we can hit the download button and boom, there you go. It's going to download that final mastered WAV file. Thanks again to BandLab for sponsoring this video series. If you missed the first 3 videos, check them out in the description below, or the cards that are popping up right now. And stay tuned to this channel for more BandLab videos in the future.